Okay, sounds good. So, hi everybody. My name is Pat, and for those who might not know me, my title is I'm a co-founder and CEO at Isempower. So, raise your hand for me if this is your first time with us. Okay, first time with us. How many first time? Okay, a couple, four people, five, six. Okay. Okay, sounds good. Yeah, all right. So let me just kind of introduce a bit about what we do and who we are. So first of all, Isempower is Canada's first job search platform for international students. So I personally came here as an international student myself and found job search very challenging and realized that there's really not a lot of support system for international students post-graduation. So we built this platform to empower other international students. So hence the name Empower came to life. So the way that we do this is we build a free platform. So think of it as LinkedIn for international students. Students can go and create an account. So if you haven't created an account with us yet, I would highly recommend for you to do so. We connect you with the employers who want to hire you and also giving you access to useful resources like the webinar today, as well as a lot of free downloads and templates on the website. Okay, so that's a little bit about us. You can go and get personalized resources from our website. So create a profile. You're going to get resources sent directly to you via an email every single week. We have job opportunities from employers who want to hire you, so you can get seen for who you are. And we also have a supportive community of other international students across Canada and mentors who are here to help you. Okay, so that's a bit about me and my company. So now, since I am running the webinar by myself, I might just going back and forth between the two screens and admitting people in. So thank you for all your patience. So today with LinkedIn, if you haven't done already, or if you just joined, please add your LinkedIn URL onto this chat right here, so then I can monitor it, and then we would do a little volunteering of one person. Okay, so here's a bit of agenda today. So first, we're going to go over, why do you need LinkedIn, how you can optimize LinkedIn, LinkedIn headline, right? So how to write it, how to write an about section, and how to write an experience section. We're also going to talk about how to leverage LinkedIn for networking as well. So going about, hey, what to post on LinkedIn, how to engage with other people post on LinkedIn. Okay. Now type into the chat for me, everybody, since we have a small group. What do you want to learn? What do you want to get out of this session? After the end of the session, what do you want to know? So type into the chat. Is there anything specifically about LinkedIn that you want to learn? Okay, type into the chat for me. Okay. No one's want to learn about anything on LinkedIn. Type into the chat for me, you guys. What do you like? Anything about LinkedIn that you want to know? How to network properly? How to network with LinkedIn? Okay, sounds good. Anything about setting up a profile? Is there any burning questions that you want to get out of the way? How to put together an effective tagline and about section? Thank you. Okay, sounds good. So let's get into it. What do you guys think about this photo? Do you think it's accurate? LinkedIn, very proper. Facebook, kind of trendy. No one's on Facebook, and I don't feel like a lot of people. Instagram and Tinder. Yeah, all right, so that's a little joke of the day. A lot of people think, oh, LinkedIn has to be all about being popular and being professional, but when you use LinkedIn in the right way, it can actually be your personal brand space. And whether or not your personal brand is completely professional or your personal brand is a little bit more friendlier, this is a space for you to do so. Now, use LinkedIn for job search and beyond. I have a stats out there that 90% of hiring managers and recruiters live on LinkedIn. It's really a go-to platform. It's really helped you create a professional, personal brand. So making sure that people know you as someone that have the skills to offer. It also kind of acts as your own SEO. So for those who might not know what SEO is, it's called search engine optimization. So most of the recruiters use LinkedIn, and they usually search up candidates based on the skills that they're looking for. So from the LinkedIn back end, you can actually search candidates based on the skills, geographic location. You can search them by the company they used to work for, the different keywords that you have on your profile. So not only it is a profile that people can see you for who you are, but it can also let you be searchable by a recruiter as well. It's a great place to network, to find someone to talk to learn about someone else's experience. And the last piece, which is, I believe, is the most important piece, is LinkedIn is something that you can use to expand your resume, right? Your resume is typically only 1 or 2 page, but LinkedIn, you can add so much more media, more personal brand, more, portfolio link onto it. Okay. All right, so area to optimize, let's just kind of dive right into it. And we'll spend about 30 minutes on the lecture, not the lecture, the presentation, and then we'll go into the live review of someone's LinkedIn, okay? So first, if you don't have a professional headshot, that's the first thing that you would need. So a professional headshot usually is from kind of like the chest up. And these days you can also choose your own background color as well if you would like. So I would recommend, having that as a first step. Now, LinkedIn headline is something that is quite important because the keywords actually come from the headline. So this is my current LinkedIn profile right now. I put in co-founder and CEO at Isempower. Before that, I used to just put like, I help international student land jobs. And for me, what I personally believe in is, I like putting unique headline that is a little bit different from everybody else. Now, if you think about it, if you put in something like student at Humber College, okay, and I think I was calling someone else who said they went to Humber, so student at Humber College, there's going to be thousands of other Humber students who might have the same title. So how can you differentiate from yourself, right, for yourself? Now, what you want to put in is maybe your skill set, right? So what you have to offer an aspiring accounting student, something along the line. And we'll go into more detail of how you can structure one. And I also have this thing because it might look a little bit different from you, but I have this little hashtags right here because I have a creator mode on. And I, typically talk about diversity, inclusion, international students, job search, and things like that. Okay. And the last piece, I recommend having a background image. You don't have to put like your, custom made background image. It could just be a photo of the city you live in, your home country, something that have meaning to you, just to, bring everything together. Okay. I'm just taking a look at the chat. What do you think of getting a certificate from LinkedIn for skills? Yeah, we'll get into that. But long story short, I really recommend it. Okay, so other area to optimize that we'll talk about today is the about section. So the about section is about 2,000 words. So this is a brief description about yourself. So when people come on here, they learn about you, right? So in your own word, right? So I, myself, you speak from a first person language, and that talks about who you are. You also have feature media area, which is something you can really use. So I typically put some of the posts that did well for me and really speak to the work that I do. So I put it as a feature. Some people put portfolio link right on here. So it's very prominent when people come and they see it right away, or they might put articles that they were a part of, or any media of past work that they have been a part of in the past. Okay, so other area, this is probably the most important area, which is the experience section. Okay, so this is something that it shouldn't be a duplication of your resume. Your resume talks about your experience into bullet points, and then listing out all the task title. Okay, so you usually have like accomplishment statements into resume, but LinkedIn can be more than that. So you can actually put in a little bit of description, right? Like what is the company you are working for? Like what do you actually do? Which team were you a part of? Something that you actually don't have enough space on resume to put. And you can also put progression too, right? So not every time that you're going to have space on your resume to do so. So let's say you get promoted from one to another, right? So show your progression, add in the time that it takes you to get from one role to another. Okay. I also really recommend adding media because that's, again, what you can do more than a resume. So if you have a link to your portfolio, link to an event you organize, or link to an organization website in itself, or a landing page you worked on, I highly recommend adding that in. So when you add in the media, it will look something like this one or this one right here. Okay, so I'll pause here for now. Any questions so far, or anything related to LinkedIn that you would like to ask at this point? Okay, no questions? Okay, so if you do have questions, just type into the chat, and also as we have a smaller group, so feel free to speak up and ask your question right away, okay? So let's get into the last piece, which is the skill set. So this is where recruiters will be able to search based on your skills. So if you have not optimized your skills area, you can scroll down to the bottom. You can, these days, LinkedIn have a lot more functionality now where you can actually take skill quiz, you can take certification like what Rishan was mentioning, and then it will validate that you actually have those skills. But typically you can also go in here and then add in the skills that you you have and you specialize in. Okay, don't try to stuff it with all these different skills. Pick the ones that you really think you have more than the others, so that it's really help your profile stand out. Okay, all right, so let's get into a LinkedIn headline strategy. Now, can you type into the chat for me, copy your LinkedIn headline for me and post it into the chat right now? Like, what do you have so far? I'd love to know. So this was my old headline, but for me, I'm just gonna type mine in, and at the same time, I'm just gonna wait for you to type in yours. Okay, so that's mine. What do you guys have? What else? Yeah, I like that. I like that. Okay, question. What do you think about using emoji in your headline? Is it recommended? Well, I really liked it. I personally think it adds personality and it just make your profile a lot more memorable. So even for me, I went a little bit more than other people. I put an emoji onto my name in itself. But if you feel like that's a little bit too much, start with your headline. And maybe this one a little bit too many. So maybe like pick one or two and pick the one that speak to you. So I really like a star just because, it's, giving that empowerment. I really like this rocket emoji as well. I'm personally more of an emoji person anyway, so I do that a lot. And what do we have? Experience training, learning development, second year international student at KPU, community development work student, seeking VA opportunity, Josh Brown. Okay, that's good. All right, so thanks so much. And this is really good because the title CEO Summit on your headline. Yeah, a little bit, right? Like, but also before that, before I run this business full time, I was doing two things. So I also put my product manager title as well. But okay, so it's good that you guys are now sharing your own LinkedIn headline. So take a look at someone else LinkedIn, and take a note of what you like and what you don't like, and we'll discuss that in a little bit. So if you see on the screen right here, some of the good ones that I really like, and I picked this specifically because I think it speaks to what they actually can offer. A good headline shouldn't just be about, student at Hamburg College or student at KPU, and apologies for picking on you. But I like the headline that talks about what you can offer, right? There's going to be so many people that have similar headline of like business analyst at TELUS or software engineer at Amazon, right? So when you go and search for people, the keywords is what's most important. And when you are using LinkedIn often, your headline pops up most often, right? So I always lead with, I help international students get jobs. And that's why people kind of come into my profile and follow my content. Maher here, he had passionate about helping people find jobs, right? Very similar type of work, but for him, he's more of a content creator, and he's like, DM me to learn more. Okay, Johan. So Johan is one of our bootcamp program instructors as well, and he worked at Deloitte as a change management consultant. So that summit also, he has that as a title, but he also add in like driving business transformation, career coach, job expert, helping you land amazing jobs at Canada's top companies, ask for resume review, testimonial below. So that's a very, that's slightly a little too long maybe, but if you can keep it between something like Maher or myself, and then focus on the keywords of skills that you can offer, that would be a good start. Okay, so here's how you can write one. Okay, a LinkedIn headline is something very unique to you. I would highly recommend just keep it between, something like myself or Maher, which is not too long. You can add an emoji. It can be a personality, right? So ask yourself these two questions, right? Who are you, right? Who do you help, and how do you help them? Okay, so who are you could be recent grads, right? We don't always have to type in recent grads, but in terms of who are you, maybe think about in the future if you're currently looking. So maybe like aspiring data analyst, or if you are not in that role yet, you can also say data analytics, right? So something similar to what Selena has, community development, work student, physician, right? This one's also really good. What Joshua has, so like business analyst, health information, and dentist, right? Yeah, so something like that, and focus on the keywords of your ideal title, right? So focus on those, and then use a little, I don't know what it's called in English, but like that little bar right there to separate, or you can use an emoji to separate as well. Okay, most of the time you focus on the keywords, but you also can look into your industry as well. So similar to what Joshua has, he also put in, the industry that he's in, right? So that's a really good start. So if you were to pick three, pick 2 keywords and 1 industry. So could be like data analytics, software development, and then healthcare industry, right? That's just really sum it all together. Okay. Anything that stood out to you guys, like anything that you want to change based on what you have seen on the screen or what you've seen from other people? Okay, let's take some time to kind of go and give each other feedback. Okay, so I'm gonna take a look at ARMS here. Second year international student at KPU in the computer aided design and drafting program. ARMS, I would recommend that you change it slightly. So maybe don't have to mention KPU and that you're second year student for now, but you can maybe put in like computer aided design as a keyword, and then think about the job that you might want in the future. So like, software development or something like that, and then follow a similar format, similar to what Ethel. I'm sorry if I don't pronounce your name correctly, but Ethel's what you have there. Okay. Okay. Anything that stood out to you for your headline? Like anybody wants to share that a new headline that they might just dropped up recently? Feel free to share into the chat, and then we can go from there. Okay, sounds good. So yeah, type into the chat if you have a new headline, and we can give you feedback as you have it. Okay. All right. Sorry, I completely forgot about this slide, but these are some of the examples based on what I just mentioned to you. So strategic thinker helping top retail brands connect with customers, business analyst, computer cloud solutions, and startups. So that's like the industry that I mentioned. Or you can say help tech company meet qualified clients through digital marketing, right? So instead of being say like digital marketer at blah, 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 that's what you say instead, right? So you open up more doors for people so that they know what you can help them with. Or you can do this, finance graduate top of 2021 class, investment banking. Is that what you want to get into? Okay. No questions, right? Any questions? Okay. All right, so let's move into LinkedIn About section, okay? If I ask you to put your About section, it might be too long on the chat, so I'm not gonna do that. But if you have a shorter one, feel free to type into the chat for everybody else to take a look at. So About section, you have about 2,000 characters. So 2,000 characters, I would recommend 3 to 4 small paragraphs. Of course, I have a little bit more than 3 to 4. So mine might not be a good example. I have a little bit too much, but keep it between 3 to 4 small paragraphs. As you're building one, you want to ask yourself these questions, right? What type of career do you want? When writing an about section, it's not talking about what you're doing currently. Sometimes if you're looking for a job and you want to leverage LinkedIn as a platform, you want to think a little bit beyond, think about what you want to be known for in the future. So add in the aspiration, like I'm currently looking for roles in XYZ. And when people come to your LinkedIn, they will be able to see it. Okay. Ask yourself this question too. What drives you the most, right? What motivates you? This is not the same as your resume, so don't have to summarize all your past experience, but talk about your personal motivation. These are the things that you can't include in your resume. Okay, what is your area of expertise? And this will go into optimizing for keywords. Remember, people search you up based on the keywords that you have on your profile. So the more keywords that you have based on the area of work you're going to get in, the more likable that you will be searched up. Okay. What is your personal interest? More than just work, what else are you interested in? And then what awards and achievement do you have, right? Can you add in a link to awards that you received? Can you add in a link to a certification that you have done recently, for example? Okay, so here's how to write. Let's go one by one. Okay, so I would recommend a full paragraph. And the first paragraph, let's focus on your personal story. What got you here? This can include a little childhood memory, your motivation, your belief, or your cultural background. It's completely fine to be a little bit more personal on LinkedIn to the point that you'll feel comfortable, right? So for myself, like I am very comfortable talking about my cultural background. So I always talk about, how I grew up in Thailand and I moved here as an international student, because again, that's very similar to that's relevant to the line of work that I am in. But the fact that I spend a lot of my career in the retail industry, that's also mentioned in the first and the second paragraph. Sorry, did someone want to say something or did just join in? Okay. Would it make sense to add awards in the about since there's section for awards in the profile? Yeah, so perhaps not listing out all the awards, but the one that you are proud of. Remember, this is almost your highlights. So let's say you won, the best startup of the year. Sorry, I have to mute someone here. My apology. Karen, sorry. Yeah, so if you have something that you're really proud of and it's significant to your career journey, I would recommend adding that in as a sentence, but I wouldn't recommend adding in all the awards, like the list. Okay, so the first paragraph, personal story, what got you here? So you can say like, I started off my career in an X industry because I was very interested in this. After that, I moved into blah, 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 right? So you want to start now into your second paragraph, draw a connection between your personal story and your professional story. Okay, so mention how you started off your professional story and why, right? The motivation of why you got into a certain area. Mention the type of work you have done in the past and the skills that you demonstrated, right? So an easy example could be like, growing up, I studied, engineering, and I now am more interested in how the business around engineering is done. Okay, not the best sentence structure, so don't follow this. And then you can say, over the past 5 years, I spent my career in healthcare industry developing engineering solution for top 500 Fortune companies, and I have led a team of 20 people, right? That might be like a really accomplished, and if you have some more experience example. But for maybe someone who's starting it out, you can also talk about your educational background. What did you study? Why you wanted to study that area, and what made you interested in exploring certain career path. Okay, now paragraph 3 talk about your personal, a kind of extracurriculum activity. So something outside of your professional life, right? So mention any extracurricular involvement. If you were a part of a student club, or if you are leading a student club, if you have a side hustle, this is going to be where you set yourself apart from other people. And the last part is highlight where you want to go next, right? So make your next move known. So usually recruiters come and read at your about profile. So you want to say, I'm looking for my next move in digital marketing. If you're not looking right now and you just want to make business connection, you can just put it out there, similar to me. If you are helping international students, or if you are an international student, send me a message. I'd love to talk to you. Something along that line. Okay. Any questions about the about section? Okay, no questions. Okay, let's move on. So here are a few things to think about when you're writing it. So the about section is something that is personal to you. You can be more human if you want to be, right? You don't have to put in it like a paragraph of yourself. Add in some colors, right? So make sure you're writing from a first person point of view, right? I am, myself, things like that. Make it personal, right? It's something that people can relate to. add a bit of personality. So don't be afraid to add in your hobbies, what you do in your free time, show values, right? What type of skills you can bring in. And the last part is add in keywords. So we'll say you want to be known and be searchable for certain roles, add those keywords in or add the titles of those jobs that you are targeting. Okay, so a little bit about my example then, so then you can have a look at it. I have to note that like I wrote this when I was doing two things, when I was running this venture and also was running with a product manager. So this is what I have: espresso field, doer, and dog mom. I always like this one because I'm like, I really like coffee. That's like my personal interest. And I have a small dog. So I said, you know, in 2013, I packed my bag. I moved here as an international student. And it was really hard for me to find a job. And this, I talk about my motivation of why I started the business. I believe in, you know, people, and that's what something that motivates me every day. So that's a little bit of personal stuff that I mentioned to you. And then I talk about now my professional experience. I said, having worked in digital space, from fostering online engagement for SAP, building designing brand experience for Best Buy Canada, and currently optimizing engagement of the TV product for TELUS, I found myself loving the hyperactivity and growth that the online platforms have to provide. By day, I am a product manager. I build content merchandising for Optic TV. By night, I run a social enterprise, Isempower, helping international students, blah, 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 right? So that's, you know, for myself. If you do have an example you would like to share, feel free to type into the chat as well. Okay. Any questions, you guys, about the about section, about the section? Okay. All right, so let's move on then. Let's talk about, sorry, Tony, you have to mute you. Now let's look at the experience section, okay? So this is not your resume, so include more things than what you can. So don't copy and paste your resume bullet point. Sorry, a little typo there. You can include a short summary about the role and the accomplishment. You can also include a short summary of that company too, right? Like maybe a 5-people team or $1 million business or something like that, get people excited. You can add media, photos and links, and you can add in a list of skills and technology used. Some people just put LinkedIn profile experience as like just bullet points of responsibility they had, but I feel like you have so much more space that you can work on. So list all the skills you have demonstrated. So like I put in, you know, some of the tools I used when I was an intern. I use Hootsuite, Google Analytics, AdWords, Moz, right? So that's a really good use of space. Add in emoji if you would like to, and focus on accomplishment, as well as adding link and photos to your past work. Okay. All right, so this is kind of like if you want to go into the content creation mode, this is something that you could do. I just recently add in a video of greeting. So if you guys are interested in hearing me out, like you can go there. It's a really good way to greet people when they come to the profile. It automatically plays as someone goes into your profile. I also add a pronunciation as well. I mean, my name is not that hard to pronounce, but my last name might be, so I recorded my name, you know, so people know. If you have a cultural names and it's a little bit hard for people to pronounce, add that in. I also have my pronoun, so she, her. You can also add a frame. Like if you're not doing this already, maybe add a frame. If you're hiring or if you're looking for a job, you can do that as well. And because I have a content creator mode on, I have hashtags right here. Okay. So those are a few things that you can get started just to make your profile looks a lot more polished than a regular LinkedIn profile. Okay, so why don't we do this before we head into the second half of the portion? Can I get a volunteer? Maybe we can get like someone to show their show their LinkedIn, and then we'll do a little review together. So I'll start sharing my screen now. Anybody wants to take us, give us your LinkedIn profile, and then we'll pull it up on the screen for everybody to give a feedback. Okay, all right, I got one. All right. Okay, all right, coming up. Esther, do you want to turn on your camera and then introduce yourself? Sorry, I don't know if your mic is working or maybe not working. Okay, just a second. Sounds good. So you guys, if you have your computer with you, just go into the link and take a quick look. So Esther, Google IT support. Okay, Simple Campus Ambassador, about section. So maybe this is something you can write a bit more. Providing service in certain area. And then let's go to your experience section. Ambassador. Wow, you have a lot of experience. Yeah, okay, cool. Education, certification. Voluntary experience. Esther, I don't know if you are still here, but you have a lot of great experience. Congratulations. Okay, yeah, no problem. The audio doesn't work. Okay, so anybody wants to give her some feedback, maybe? Like, what do you like about Esther's profile? Okay, type into the chat for me, or feel free to turn on your mic and speak up. What do you like about her profile? Very detailed. Yeah, agree. I think she has a lot of experience. And I like that you add in a lot of your certification and licenses too. Divija sent me a private message, but they said the headline is catchy. Okay, what else? What else do you guys like about this profile? Okay, so ask differently. Where do you think she can improve? What else can she do to improve? Yeah, okay. Center headshot. Okay, that's a good one. Yeah, summary, headshot. All right, okay. Okay, so yeah, perhaps a headshot can be a little bit in the center, and you can elaborate on your about, like, so to sum it all up together, right? I would also recommend adding in your experience section a bit more. So adding in like your media, perhaps what you were doing with Well Simple. You can add in the accomplishment that you have done, right? Okay, cool. All right. Esther, is that helpful? I can't hear you, but I can see you. No, we can't hear you. That's okay. All right. So sorry, I have to move on. I'm gonna pull up Rishad. Okay, Rishad, are you is your mic working? Do you want to quickly introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi. So my name is Vishan. I'm a senior graphic designer at a company called Red Hill. Well, I'm based in Sri Lanka, but the PR company I work for is in Singapore. So basically, I do all the designs and whatever is needed from books to websites and stuff like that. And I'm trying to move into since I'm a lot into websites, I'm trying to move into the coding or even the animation side of things. Yeah, that's about it.
Okay, sounds good. So let's take a quick scroll, okay? And please type into the chat what you liked about Rishan's profile and what you think Rishan can improve on. Okay, so summary of jobs. Okay, Esther, what do you mean by that? Maybe to have you, or you like that he summarized his job. Okay, probably. And then he asked summary what he did. Yeah, it's great that he has linked to his portfolio. Yeah, that's good. Possibly add media to each position since it's graphic related. Highly agree to that. Like what you said, not making it looks like a resume. So here's my feedback. I think because you have graphic design experience, the first thing that I would expect is like a pretty graphic designed, well-designed banner. So maybe that's something you can put together pretty quickly. And then I would recommend adding in a media similar to my profile, just add in your portfolio into your media featured. So it's easier for people to click and go there right away. Yeah, and then recommend adding in the media like what Putra mentioned. Putra, thank you. Putra mentioned. So, and maybe one more thing about the experience section. So I know that you summarize like you were employed as a graphic designer due to the high quality of my previous work. But instead of giving that type of context, maybe give more more details around the type of work you have done. Say like you design for social media or you design for a website, and then maybe list out the actual work, like actually showing the example of it. Does that help?
Yeah, I think yeah, I do understand that one of the I should probably put a bit more on what work I've actually done for each place I worked with.
Yeah, or like the clients that you serve, right? Like if you work for a very big, tough, top 500 Fortune companies, like put that in there, that will really show the credibility. Okay, sounds good. All right, I'm gonna go back to this and let's go into LinkedIn post strategy. Okay. Oh. I don't know what's going on with my computer. Oh. All right. I had to sign into my Gmail one more time, but if you have any questions, feel free to.
Okay, Dwayne, Elizabeth cook, so you gotta eat.
Sorry,
I just said-
I have to. Okay, I thought it was a question. That's not a question. Anybody else has a question before we move into LinkedIn networking session? No, okay, sounds good. Okay, all right, I am back up, right? Okay, that's good, thank you. All right, so questions. Do you post on LinkedIn regularly? Yes or no? Type into the chat for me, do you post? Putra, I am all for emojis, so if you ask me, I put emojis in everything I do. No. Yes. Okay. Divija, what do you post about?
So if I like any professional article about anything, or today I read there was a recruiter who posted her experience that somebody from the Ukraine came to Canada, and the girl was 8 to 9 years old and without her parents. And then how her daughter said that she doesn't understand English, not even French. So how she gonna communicate with her? And then her mother told her that she can look for the greeting first, that what do you call how do you say hello in Ukrainian language. And then that 8-year girl took the initiative, translated it, and checked the pronunciation, and then went to that girl. So I really liked that post, because yes, she posted that that's how we should welcome the newcomers, the new immigrants, and new international students who are in the job market. So that's what I liked about, and then I reposted it, and somebody else also liked that.
Yeah, that's a good way to start for sure. Yeah, find something you like, reshared it, and then put in your own thoughts. So questions to people who said no, they don't post regularly. What's stopping you from posting? Just curious, like, why you're not posting? It feels like posting in Facebook too mainstream. Facebook. Yeah. Anybody else, like, what might be stopping you from posting on LinkedIn? Not sure what to post. Yeah, that's a solid one. Okay.
Hi,
Alo.
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hi. When you
Oh,
LinkedIn,
we can't really hear you properly.
do you mean like? Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's better now. Can you repeat what you said?
Yeah. When you say posting on LinkedIn, do you mean resharing and commenting on other people's posts too?
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Yes. And yeah, activity. And
Okay, then I post on LinkedIn. Yeah.
okay, sounds good. So I like, this is my personal story. Like, I only started posting maybe a year ago, because before I would never post on LinkedIn because I have no idea what to post, and I always feel like I'm in the stage of my career that I have nothing to share. So like, I can really relate to what you guys are saying. Like, Mary, you send me a private message and hopefully I can share this, and you said you feeling awkward, like a little awkward, because posting on LinkedIn should only be about something professional. Usually don't post any social media because I do not have a reason. Yeah, sure. Yeah, like, I didn't have the reason to post before, and I felt like, oh, like, who am I to post this? But LinkedIn helps you increase your visibility. So every time you post or you engage on LinkedIn, either liking someone's post or commenting on someone, your profile pops up, and people in your connection will be able to see it. But the good part about LinkedIn is that other people, like mutual connections or other people's connections, would also be able to see you. So it's like a network effect. And I think LinkedIn does a much better job than other social media network out there. So if you feel intimidated by posting actively, I would start with just commenting on the post that you really liked. Don't be like, oh, great post, or like, amazing, right? Like, just add a little bit more to it, so then people know that you are engaging with this type of topic, right? Share article related to your field of interest, and then add your own interpretation or analysis on it. Hey, like, this is really interesting. My thought is blah, blah, blah. So people know that you have a voice in that area. You can also now, after doing all those things, which is engaging on LinkedIn, start sharing your accomplishment, right? Oh, I'm proud to announce that, got a new job. Those basic, very basic things. But you can also say like, I volunteer at this place, and this is a bit about what I have learned. You can talk about, giving someone a shout out, right? Like, if you had a coffee chat with someone and you learned something new, you found out something cool, write about that, give someone a shout out. And the last piece is, write something cool that you found out. So this might be a little bit more advanced, and it might feel a little bit like uncomfortable in the beginning, but once you start finding your own kind of area to talk about, that's kind of when the content comes. Okay. And the last piece, which is what you all want to hear, is drafting a networking invite. So type into the chat for me, do you actively reach out to people on LinkedIn, and do you hear back? That's a yes or no question. Do you, yes, not really. Yes, hear back 60-80% of the time. Not amazing. Usually no. Okay, sounds good. All right, so here's how you can drop a networking invite so that you can hear back. The first thing to do, and the best way, is to ask for an introduction. If you have a mutual connection, the best bet is to ask someone else that know that person to make an intro. Okay, that usually will give you a pretty high response rate. You also want to identify the tone. Do you want it to be informal or formal, based on the seniority level, right? So if you're reaching out to someone who used to go to the same school as you, maybe it's a little bit more formal. You also want to think about if that person is higher up in the company. If that person is like a VP or a CEO of a company, they might not have a lot of time to read your long message. So keep it short, but also like to the point. Like, what do you want from them? What exactly do you want to call, or do you want to get their email address, things like that. Okay, and then tell them how you found them. This is going to help build credibility. So you go to the same school, you have come from a similar background, and you also want to summarize your introduction as well, right? Like, perhaps not directly your name, but to say like, okay, well, I am looking for an opportunity in this industry. I have worked X years in in this type of position. And then add in a really strong call to action. What exactly do you need? You need a 15 minutes chat, or you want, a 30 minutes in-person meeting. Okay. And the last piece, most important piece, come in, go into coffee chat, drafting a networking invite with a learning hat in mind. I want to learn from you. Never ask about, hey, can I connect? I want a job. Never like that. Always ask to learn and ask to grow your network. Okay. Anybody has a question on drafting a networking invite? Questions or comments? Okay. Here's an example. Okay, so someone sent this to me and I thought it was a really good one. So I copy and show it to you guys here. Okay, so take some time to read on the screen for me and then type into the chat what you think you liked about this message and what you might not like about this message. It will take a bit of time. I think that's even more than LinkedIn word count limit for commissions. Yeah, you're right. This is an email message. So this person sent it to me via email, but you usually only have a few, I think you have like 200 words. So you want to keep it a little shorter than this. So maybe remove, portion of it, try to shorten it. Could work on the coffee chat apps. Would you be open to a coffee? Yeah. The person isn't concise, should go straight to the point. Okay. It's good to say what you learned. This seems to give negative. Say, is it a good idea to say?
That's it.
Sorry. Is it a good idea to say you want to learn? For some reason, when I was younger, this seemed to give negative effect. Well, I think it's always good to learn from someone, right? Yeah, I don't know, anybody else has a thought around learning from someone? Yeah. Yeah, so the good part about this message is that like they really told me about their experience without directly asking for a job, but they said something like, after hearing this, I start seeing more jobs on the job board from this company, and I want to learn from an insider. And I thought that was a really good sneaky ways to tell someone that you're looking for it, but at the same time, you are looking to learn and know more, right? So I know exactly before I have to go into this chat, what type of information I need to prepare. Okay, so that was good. And I liked that they said 30 minutes coffee chat and like directly like this is what they want from me. Okay, but I agree to what you guys said, like it could be a little bit more concise. They have the email to use, so I guess that was an exception. Okay, so the last piece of tonight, so don't forget the endorsement and recommendation. You can really use it to give endorsement and recommendation to someone that you just recently spoke with. So let's say you went on a coffee chat with someone, you really like that conversation, give them a little endorsement, right? It's a little something you can give to other people, and it's just a way to engage with other people as well. You can also ask for recommendation too. So if you have a manager that you work with in the past or an instructor that you study with and have a good relationship, ask for a recommendation, right? I recommend that. Okay, so that's all I have for you. I want to open up. I know I'm a little over my time right now, but I want to open up for questions and then we can wrap up. Okay. I'm gonna stop sharing and